The new discoveries here at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre happened during a recent restoration around the tomb of Jesus.
For centuries, scholars believed they knew exactly what lay beneath the holiest church in Jerusalem. They were wrong. In 2022, what began as a routine safety inspection inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre escalated into a code-red emergency. The marble floor surrounding the tomb of Jesus was sinking, slowly but measurably. When engineers lifted the paving stones to prevent collapse, they didn't uncover ordinary dirt or modern fill. They uncovered a sealed archive of history, one that contradicted every existing map. But what truly stopped the project wasn't the structural danger. It was a single, impossible discovery hidden in the bedrock, one that forced the entire excavation to a sudden, uneasy halt. The sinking floor. At first, the problem was easy to ignore. A slight shift, hairline fractures. For decades, the custodians of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre had avoided disturbing the ground beneath the tomb chamber. This isn't just a building, it's a pressure cooker of religion, history, and politics. Any modification, no matter how small, must be approved by three rival custodians: the Greek Orthodox Church, the Roman Catholic Church, and the Armenian Apostolic Church. This fragile balance is known as the status quo, and it is absolute. Because of it, the foundations beneath the tomb had remained largely untouched for generations, until 2022. Engineers discovered that sections of the marble floor were resting on weakened fill that had compacted under nearly 2,000 years of pilgrims, earthquakes, and rebuilding. Parts of the floor were beginning to sink toward open voids below. Ignore it, and the holiest site in Christianity could suffer irreversible damage. With no alternatives left, the church authorities reached a rare and reluctant agreement. Science was allowed in, but under strict limits. The mandate was simple: stabilize the floor and nothing more. The atmosphere inside the church changed overnight. Technicians worked quietly, fully aware they were entering a space sealed off for centuries. Ground-penetrating radar was the first tool approved. As it passed over the marble, it sent signals deep into the layers below. The readings made no sense. The bedrock wasn't flat. It dipped and rose in ways that didn't match any known plans. Cavities appeared, empty pockets untouched for hundreds of years. When the first marble slab was finally lifted, the room fell silent. Beneath it wasn't loose debris or repair material. The layers were dense, ordered, and undisturbed. They weren't looking at construction rubble. They were looking at time itself. The broken city. As excavation continued, the team expected to find the usual mixture of fill from later centuries. Instead, they uncovered a perfectly preserved cross-section of Jerusalem's most violent past. The upper layer was modern, 20th century mortar. Beneath it lay fragments of Byzantine pavement from the 4th century, remnants of the monumental rebuilding ordered by Emperor Constantine. Below that, everything changed. The team reached a thick, compacted layer of Roman rubble dating to the 2nd century. This wasn't accidental debris. It was deliberate destruction, part of Emperor Hadrian's campaign to erase Jewish and Christian history by burying sacred sites beneath pagan temples. For archaeologists, this was both disturbing and encouraging. The Roman leveling meant anything beneath had been sealed and protected. And what lay below was unexpected. The rubble gave way to quarry debris, fine limestone dust, stone chips, and packed sediment. Pottery fragments matched vessels used before 70 CE. This area, long before it was a church or a temple, had been an active limestone quarry. Radar scans confirmed it. The subsurface slopes matched quarry cuts found elsewhere in ancient Jerusalem. This wasn't once a quiet hillside. It was loud, industrial, and crowded with laborers hauling stone. But the soil chemistry suggested they still hadn't reached the end of the story. The buried garden. Instead of solid bedrock, the team uncovered something that made no sense: dark, rich soil. You don't find fertile garden earth inside a quarry unless someone deliberately placed it there. The texture and composition were completely different from the rocky layers above. Soil samples were sent for pollen analysis. The results stunned everyone. Preserved pollen from olive trees and grapevines, domesticated plants, not wild growth. These were the exact crops cultivated in small, managed gardens in first-century Jerusalem. This mattered for one reason. Ancient texts described the tomb as being located in a garden. When the soil was removed, the bedrock underneath revealed shallow planting beds carved directly into the stone. They were organized, intentional, and consistent with garden plots associated with wealthy Jewish tombs. This wasn't public land. It was private property, a place of life, and now a place of death. The silent chamber. Beneath the garden layer, the team exposed a flat, carefully shaped rock surface. It wasn't natural. It was a burial bench. In first-century Jewish burial practice, bodies were laid on stone benches for preparation and anointing. The dimensions, height, and tool marks matched known tombs from the period exactly. As excavation widened, more benches appeared, forming a U-shaped burial chamber. Then came the definitive feature, a narrow bone repository carved into the wall, used to store remains after decomposition. This wasn't symbolic, it was functional, it was authentic. But something was off. On the west wall, a burial niche had been started and abruptly abandoned. The carving stopped mid-cut, as if work had ceased suddenly.
Some researchers believe the tomb was rushed into use before completion. Then came the discovery no one expected: the linen fragments. Organic material rarely survives 2,000 years, especially beneath centuries of construction. Still, technicians vacuumed microscopic grooves along the stone surfaces as a precaution. They found fibers. Under magnification, the room went silent. These weren't roots. They weren't modern contaminants. They had the twisted structure of ancient linen. Linen decays rapidly. Its survival meant the tomb had been sealed tightly and early. Chemical analysis revealed something else: trace residues consistent with aromatic burial oils used in first-century Jewish funerary rituals. This wasn't just stone anymore. A wrapped, anointed body had once lain here. The hollow below. Ground-penetrating radar had one final surprise. Beneath the limestone floor of the tomb chamber, the scanner detected a clean, rectangular void. Perfectly shaped, evenly cut, manufactured. A second chamber. No historical record mentioned it. Unable to disturb the tomb itself, the team fed a microcamera through a natural fissure in the stone. The screen flickered and revealed a pristine chamber untouched for 2 millennia. No footprints, no disturbance. At its center, a limestone bench, unused. Trace sampling confirmed concentrated linen fibers in a single location, as if a wrapped object had been placed there and removed. The chamber was sealed, hidden, and empty. The mystery remains. Here's what we know. A quarry became a private garden. A tomb was carved in urgency. Linen and oils match first-century Jewish customs. And beneath it all lies a sealed chamber that history never recorded. Skeptics argue this could belong to any wealthy family. But then the questions begin. Why was it buried so carefully? Why preserve the garden? Why does the physical evidence align so precisely with a 2,000-year-old narrative? If this was just another tomb, why did history pivot around this exact location? Was the carving halted because the tomb was needed immediately for someone who wasn't expected to die? The evidence feels frozen, like a crime scene paused in time. So what do you think? Does this discovery support the ancient accounts, or is it coincidence layered over faith? Let me know your theory in the comments. Like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries.